So welcome back to another episode on the Fearless Femme podcast, and we have another amazing guest expert that I've just been sat chatting away to before we jumped on for this episode, and I think you're all going to absolutely love it because it's a topic that we haven't covered yet on this podcast. So I'm really excited to introduce Ania Kabowska to the show, and we were just talking, weren't we, about um like society expectations for women on how they look, their makeup, filters. Now we've got AI, our weight, and just the whole aesthetic that we're kind of pressured to have. And I know this is a really spicy subject for you, so I'm going to let Ania introduce herself and what she does, and we're going to get stuck in.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Becky, for having me here. I was so excited when you invited me. And yes, like body confidence, this is one of my favorite topics. And I'm a mind and body coach, personal trainer, NLP coach, female body coach, and my passion is for and mission is for every single woman to feel happy and confident in their bodies and in their minds. So yeah, that's something that I feel now it's more important than ever with social media. Pretty much, I don't want to say attacking, but being present like everywhere, and also being in lives of younger and younger girls and boys too, because yeah, I thought for many years that only women and girls have issues with their body image, but of course
Mhm.
I know that this is not true.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've got multiple kids of my here, as my listeners already know, and it's like I think I've been really fortunate with my daughter. I've only got one and the rest are all boys. And I think I've been quite lucky in a way that she hasn't really gone down the makeup route and, picking at her body issues. I know I did when I was younger, and I used to have a lot of things I had to work through. But for her, I think because I mean she's only coming up teen years now, but I think because I've modeled for her to be comfortable, not to pressure her with makeup or a certain style, I've just kind of allowed her that freedom to kind of explore her style,
Um,
and what she wants to do. And we bought her makeup a few years ago, and she just
yeah,
was not interested. She's like baggy t-shirts, baggy jeans, grunge look. And she's happy with that. I'm not one of these that'll say, because she's a girl, she has to wear tight fitting things. And, I love that about her.
yeah, and I love that too. And yeah, it's exactly that's something that we learned from our mothers. And I remember my mom standing in front of the mirror every time before summer and saying that she needs to lose some weight before the summer. And then my aunties would come and they would talk about how much weight they need to lose. And back then they would bring some magazines, or they would be talking about someone who lost 30 kilograms on a cabbage soup diet. So it was like everywhere. So I was kind of learning that as women, we need to stay small, we need to stay thin, that our worth is somehow tied to the number on a scale. And I had this number in my head for many years. I don't even know where this number came from. I probably saw someone with a nice body that I like, and they shared how much they weigh. And I decided this is my like ideal weight, which I reached this goal a couple of times, and it never brought happiness And actually one
Mm.
of the unhappiest times in my life, I weigh less, and I know that this is not the root. It's not the size, it's not the number, is how we feel about ourselves. And if we were conditioned not to feel good about ourselves, we need to work through it. And I think combining mindset and fitness and nutrition, something that I do, I think, because sometimes I hear some women saying, I need to sort out my head and then I will come to work with you. I'm like, it doesn't work like that. The lasting
Yeah.
results and something that is actually sustainable will come if we connect all those three. And I feel like now, after many years, because as a personal trainer, I was clueless. We were,
Yeah.
the courses give us knowledge like how to train people. We learn about nutrition, but the mindset, I only like last couple years, I am learning more and more, and I'm fascinated. And
Yeah.
I think that should be part of the qualification.
Yeah, for sure. And I think introducing it like at an earlier age as well, like making it more accessible. Um, like I remember my weight because even after two children, I was still quite slim. Probably too slim because I'm quite tall. Ania knows, she's met me in person because I'm quite tall. I was around 10 stone at the time, which is very, very, very thin for my height. And I remember like after each of my first two children, the goal was to fit back into my jeans pre-pregnancy. And I remember this like, and I see it now with women who are either due to have children or have had children, like they want to get back to pre-pregnancy weight. Um, and I know once I got to like my third child, I realized that actually my weight started shifting when I stopped caring so much about what was on the scales, when I just thought, you know what, if I want to eat that thing, I'm going to eat that thing and I'm just going to be happy. Because for me at the time, I think I was putting myself under so much stress to look and be a certain way, especially due to all the surgeries I've had as well. It was a big thing for me because that was going to be permanent. And like I said, the weight actually started reducing when I stopped caring, when I stopped putting so tough expectations on myself, and they weren't even my expectations. When you sit and think about it, it's just insane.
It is. And that's why I don't like this, like bounce back to your pre-pregnancy body. No, just I don't have children, but I work with clients when they're pregnant and after they have babies. I'm like, your body you just like made a baby. Give yourself grace and give yourself time, and you feeling good. That's the most important thing.
Mm.
That's the number, like the happiness on a scale of 1 to 10. Don't jump on a scale first thing in the morning. Just ask yourself how you feel. And I'm not saying here that, like never check your weight, because I do. It's like, but I treat it as a like number, like a data that I wanna know, because I know that if I carry more, especially that the way my body is built, I carry all the extra weight around my stomach. And that's
Mhm.
the visceral fat. And that's the most dangerous fat. Because some women, we store weight and fat more around thighs. And this kind of fat is not as dangerous as the fat that we gather around stomachs. And I remember when I was like at my heaviest, my triglycerides were high, my cholesterol, my LDL was high, and my fasting glucose was high. And I remember my sister-in-law who works in a laboratory, she saw this results and she thought like, oh, maybe it's because of your genetics, because both your parents have heart issues and blood pressure issues. But I know now that the issue was me eating kebabs and drinking four Stella Artois almost every evening.
Yeah.
So there is like a pressure that we might put on ourselves, but also there needs to be like a level of honesty. And I know that the happiness will not come from the number on a scale. And I know at some point I just stopped caring. Like I check it because I want to know, but it's not that I'm expecting the number to be certain number there. But the happiness comes from doing what's best for our body. And it doesn't mean restriction. Like I eat everything, well, of course, in moderation. I'm not saying that I eat everything I want to, but somehow the moment I gave myself permission to have whatever I want to, I stopped wanting it so much. Because I
Yeah.
remember times when I was tomorrow or on Monday, 1st of January, I'm starting again. And there was one New Year's Eve when I was eating like the biggest pack of crisps I found, and I didn't even want it anymore. But because in my head was the last pack of crisps ever, I wanted to finish it. And I
Yeah.
know that this is the moment we hear, our brain hears, this is the last thing ever, or we will never have it. We want it even more. So
Yeah.
now I know I'm allowed to eat everything, but I know I feel better if I fuel my body right, if I eat my fruit and veggies, if I eat high protein diet. And then yes, I leave room when I go out, or when we were in Poland with my husband, it was his granny's birthday. Of course I had a cake. I still want to enjoy those little treats, because the last thing I would want for anyone who wants to be on this like healthy journey to like better their health is to become miserable, because I've seen it happening. It was happening also for me. Like I would end up, yes, I was thinner and leaner, but my mental health was struggling, and I was almost like anxious to go out, because I
Yeah.
was, before even going out, I was worried what I'm gonna eat, and if I'm going to, I just like food was on my mind 24/7. And that's not the mindset I would want anyone to have. Yes, food, of course, is our fuel, is important. But if we always look at food as like good or bad, that's not gonna be helpful long term.
Yeah, for sure. I know I went on a bit of a health kick last year because we talked about it, didn't we? And even like looking back myself from 2022, even though I'm slightly heavy, I don't want to say heavier in a bad way. My weight is slightly heavier than it was in 2022. But I think I had less body confidence back then. I was still not wanting to be seen, still trying to blend and not draw attention to myself. And that was a mindset thing. And like, I think that's the first time I met you actually was in 2022. And then each year it's just improved and improved and improved because it's that acceptance piece with the mindset. And not everybody is looking at you and thinking certain things and judging you. And if they are, it doesn't matter because you can't hear them anyway. So just have a good time. And the more I was able to do that, the more like things started to shift along with the confidence. I might not be the weight that I feel is healthy for me, but I certainly feel a lot healthier. There's no judgment. So if I'm a self-confessed late night snacker, and I'm all right with that. I'm okay with that. That's my chill time. I generally fast from a certain time to a certain time the next day anyway, and I'm quite active during the day. So I'm like I've done all my motherly duties for the day. I've done all of these school runs. I've done all of these steps. So now I'm going to have snacks. And even in that, the more that I stop shaming myself for being a late night snacker, I know it's late night snacking is not the best, it's not the healthiest, but in what you said about the whole dialogue that you have with yourself, it shifts it because when I was shaming myself for having snacks, when I was on a bit of a health kick last year and then I caved in multiple times, I would have so many snacks, like that was an unhealthy level because I denied myself and then I felt really rubbish because I'd eaten all these snacks. But now, because I allow myself to have them, even though I know it's not the best thing right now, it's I'm good with it. And I think it's because of that attitude. And now I don't snack and have to eat them all.
Yeah, yeah,
Just because it's
exactly.
there,
Yeah.
I don't have to like Pringles, for example, I could eat like even last year, a full tube of Pringles in one sitting, like the big tub of Pringles in one sitting. And now, like I had some last night because I got back from my dance class, and I walk 2 miles there, have the hour dance class. So that's my treat when I get in.
Uh,
And I literally only had a stack of about this because I was like, I'm happy with that. I don't want any more. So what you said about what you're telling yourself and the language, like there's the mindset. So it's the brain and body connection. Like that's huge. And I know you were mentioning about TikTok around the filters as well and how that plays a really important role on the mindset and how we're expected to be.
yes, because I know that there was a time that whenever I was looking at myself in the mirror, my focus was like going straight to my back then so perceived flaws. So no
Mhm.
matter how I look, there was always something that I didn't like about myself. And I remember when TikTok, I didn't like, I think filters, they were on Instagram, but I don't think I've ever tried. So on TikTok, and there was this filter that made me look different, like my lips look different, my features look different. And then I turned it off. And for a second, I thought like, actually, I like the other thing. And then like, no, because that's the last thing I want to start using those filters with my pictures or my videos because I want to love what I'm seeing in the mirror, what I'm seeing, like whenever I post things. And it took me some time to realize that this lack of like self-love, it wasn't even mine, because I remember when I was a kid, I used to love seeing myself in the mirror. I would steal my mom makeup things and I was just
Mhm.
look at myself in the mirror. And then as I was growing up, I learned that it's vain to look at yourself in the mirror. Then some people were commenting on my face, and I hope it doesn't happen anymore. But back then, like adults, they talked about children like they were not there. So I
Yeah.
heard so many times about my face looking like a full moon, that was all I could see. So then was this filter that made me look like my face looked like different. And I'm like, no, that's the last thing I want or I need. And back then also, like I don't think, yeah, probably I was like at my heaviest and unhealthiest. And when
Mhm.
I know when I like that's why like the self-talk is so important, because if we
Mhm.
feel like we did something bad by eating something that is probably like not the most optimal healthiest thing, but
Mhm.
it can fit into our lifestyle. But then it on top of that, we start blaming ourselves, we start calling ourselves failures. Of course, the moment we see ourselves in the mirror with all these things boiling in our head, we will, and I don't want to say it because I don't talk to myself. Even here, I don't want to say the words that I used to use to describe myself
Mhm.
after binge eating. And I used to do it with my friends, and we used to like gather together and say how bad we feel about our bodies. We would call ourselves like, yeah, just like how yes, just like how we overdid with food. And I don't do it anymore. Yes, I ate like Pringles or something. So what? It's not like there's no like one ingredient or one type of food that makes us healthy or unhealthy. Is more about like the whole, like the overall diet, and also like what we consume in terms of our mindset. And there are
Mhm.
like studies showing that people, if they are given like two different shakes, and one group was told that this is like the most nutritious healthy food, and the other was told that this is like full of sugar, unhealthy, their physiological reactions were different. They
Wow.
produce different hormones. So this is like really mind blowing. And this is how that also helped me to change the way I see food, because uh, like eating Pringles when we feel like it's relaxing, or eating cake when it's someone's birthday, is so much healthier than going to a party, judging everyone for eating sugar, judging ourselves, or like really feeling like we want that so much. And then
Yeah.
we think somehow that we keep making ourselves a favor for not eating this. No, all this like peptides, all those hormones, all those stress that we're going through with all
Yeah.
those thoughts and like chemical reactions in our bodies, is worse than if we actually allowed ourselves to have these cakes, to enjoy and to just have fun. Because what's the
Yeah.
point of like working on our like bodies if we cannot enjoy events like that?
No, absolutely. And I think it's really good how you framed that as well and said it's the content and the mindset stuff that we consume, because if we're consuming unhealthy things that are not getting us where we want to be, where we're feeling happier in ourselves, whatever size, and feeling healthier, then we also have to be mindful of the information we're also consuming, because it's the oh my gosh, that was just a penny drop for me.
Mhm.
But no, I'm so sorry you experienced that as well. I mean, I didn't get into makeup, interestingly, until I was nearly 30. So I was quite late. Um and I didn't really get into it because I was so self-conscious of myself. And I like a quick backstory for me. So this is kind of the polar opposite to what you experienced. So I, as an adult, I had my own place from the age of, I think, 19. I didn't have mirrors. I only had a mirror in my bathroom because I could not stand to look at myself in the mirror. And that was because I had an experience with an adult when I was a child that would criticize how I looked. So I won't share what was said, but that kind of stuck with me, and made me feel really unattractive. So then I was always conscious. So it, like, after some work, I had to get really comfortable with accepting myself, the way that I looked, and being okay with that. And for a time, I guess, I mean, I was on TikTok from 2018 from it
Wow.
first launching. So I've seen at that point there weren't very many filters on there at all, and AI certainly wasn't a thing.
Mm.
And now there are just so many filters and so many things you can do. But when I was back on it, I was heavily using a lot of the features. So I had to kind of work, and that's what I suppose where the cosplay came in as well, which was showing up with that confidence. And over time, I've worked on my own mindset to be comfortable within myself. And just because one person believed a certain way because they were perceiving me that way didn't mean that it was fact. And a lot of how I feel in my body now. Am I where I want to be health wise? No. Size wise? No. But I'm okay with that. I do exercise when and where I can. I mean, I'm a very active mum anyway, so I do about 50 million miles a week school runs. I am active. I have a very really varied diet. I don't shame myself for certain foods. I don't drink, which I suppose goes in my favor as well. And I've just slowly started cutting down the caffeine intake by having a glass of water before I have a cup of coffee, which has reduced the number of cups that I'm having so that I can slowly start to phase that out. So I've got down from about 7 cups of coffee a day to about three.
Okay, yes,
Um,
but it's good. There's nothing
yeah,
wrong like entirely with coffee, of
no.
course, but yeah, there are like probably seven. That's a little bit yeah, probably
Yeah, that was, and I wasn't actually drinking anything else other than 7 cups
okay.
of coffee. So no, not even any water. And now I'm kind of at the 2 liters of water mark, 3 to 4 cups. So in 3 weeks, that's pretty good going.
Yeah, that's very good because we need to start slowly. Whatever we
Yeah.
decide to do, if we go all in, we are very, very unlikely to last. And with like the body size, weight, I definitely recommend to know our like numbers, like health numbers, because unfortunately, diseases like heart diseases, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance, those are the
Yeah.
diseases that take time to develop. And if we catch them early enough or like before they happen, but we know that something already there is like some kind of inflammation in our body, we can
Mhm.
reverse those. We might not need medications. And of course, I never shame anyone for using any type of medications, but of course, in ideal scenario, we would be able to reverse whatever is going on in our bodies with the lifestyle. And that's why I'm so big on like building muscles, like exercising, because that's the best we can do for ourselves. Not exercising because we need to punish ourselves for things that we ate. No, exercising because this is something that we can treat as an investment in future
Exactly.
us, because the stronger we are as we age. I see like female entrepreneurs building those amazing businesses, and sometimes I know their healthy habits are almost not existing. And I know that yes, we can throw money at many things, but there are no supplements, there is nothing that is going to replace exercise. And I don't think in long term it may be in the future, yes, but for now, if exercise like strength training could be turned into a pill, it would be the best selling supplement ever. So
Yeah.
that's something. And once we like start exercising, I think so many things like sort out themselves. Our steps, some resistance training, paying some attention to our diet, of course. I'm not gonna say that we can eat McDonald's and think that this is salad, and I don't think mindset works that's
And no, it's not that good.
that would be too good.
Yeah.
But definitely like this balanced lifestyle that I think whatever it means to us, because it will mean something different for everyone. But I think yeah, just like we somehow I think we all know like what is like better for our health, and then slowly like thinking what we can improve, like your coffee, right? Intake. Yeah, that's perfect. Like the perfect habit to bring into your life. And I'm sure it doesn't feel like it's because if you were changing few things at the same time, that could be overwhelming. But this is like
Yeah.
easy enough. You can see yourself probably doing it long term.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely know when I haven't drunk water and I go to the kettle and I'm like, oh, but I haven't had a drink of water first. So
Mm.
that is kind of like habit stacking for me because I'm already there and it's reminding me that I haven't had a drink. And I did the same thing with my supplements. And I think one of the big things and one of the reasons I really love the work that you're doing and how you're bringing the mindset in and breaking down those insecurities that women can have is the realization that and it was a key point you made earlier, is the realization that I'm not getting any younger. My body doesn't bounce back as quick, it doesn't move as fast. And even though I am quite active, like you said, it's that investment for when you get to an age where you want to feel as healthy as you can so that you can support yourself and continue to do things for you, that even the smallest things. So I, especially from, I'd say, the summertime last year, I started really investing and looking at, even like digging into my blood, all the blood test results that I was having from last year. I was looking into each one and what each one meant. um I had like joint aches and muscle cramps and things last year. So I actually started to look into like what supplements would be good for me as well. So I've got like a really healthy set of supplements. Like they're not overly expensive either, like the magnesiums, B12s, all of those good things, the vitamin D. So I know myself that these are investments because I need to be I need to be on my A game because I've got young kids. I can't be exhausted all the time. And I'm starting to feel that payoff now of just really investing in how I feel, the things I'm doing that's helping that, and knowing that I aren't going to keep feeling fatigued and exhausted. So yeah, I love what you're doing at the
Thank
minute. Like
you.
I
Thank
really do. It's so important.
And I really thought like that, like health is just like a lottery. And I really thought that once you turn 40, that's it. And I remember when I was a little kid, all my parents, aunties, uncles, all they were talking about was like what kind of medications they own, when is their next appointment, what doctors they going to see. So I thought that's it. And then when I came to London, and like, because in Poland back then no one exercised. If someone ran, you had to run too, because probably somebody was chasing them. So I met people who were like older than my parents, and they were more active than I ever been. And then I was looking at their lifestyle, and they all exercise, and it was just like part of their like daily routine. There was not something that they would have to negotiate with themselves to do. And even now I work with someone who will be 78 this year, and this guy is Scottish guy. We go because we are friends now. He and his partner, they came to our wedding in Poland, so I go out with him. I know he likes his food, and yeah, we party together, but he still goes for runs almost every day. He does weights, and I'm like, I want to be like him. And his holidays, like last year, he was on a bicycle, like next in the Baltic countries. So
Wow.
like what? So I really changed my mind around health, and I can see how much we are in control. And of course, with that, I know there are things outside of our control. My husband has autoimmune disease, my mom has MS, so I know things can happen to anyone, because I wouldn't anyone to feel like they done something wrong if their health is not great, but there are so many things that we can help with. And even like my husband, I told him, look, I'm never gonna like blame you for your illness or tell you what you should or you shouldn't be eating, but like strength training is for everyone and you still can go. So he signed up last year and he goes to the gym because we were trying to exercise at home, but our dog, when I can exercise with my dog but around, but when he saw both of us exercising, he thought that was a playtime. My husband, he could never do a sit up because dog was licking his face. I'm like, that's it. So he joined the gym, but he understands because at the beginning he was like, I'm an IT guy, like I don't need to be massive. I'm like, no, 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 I'm not trying to make Arnold Schwarzenegger out of you. It's for our future. We love Greece. We think maybe we'll live there at some point. And yeah, we just need to think about how we're going to age. As yeah, I feel 20, but I know that my body will be changing, and we are deciding now how we're going to feel. And yes, all these like supplements, exercise, protein, that's something that our body will be grateful for in the future. And with that in my mind, it's so much easier to make healthier choices. It's so much easier to have Greek yogurt in the morning than cereals now, because I know. And also like when we are like 20 something, it's not like our body forgives so much because my lifestyle, oh my God, it was so bad. But I know there is time that, yeah, we need to be very honest with ourselves and think about stuff that we like doing now, how easy those things are for us. And with our lifestyle right now, do we see ourselves being able to do those things in 10 years? Because if the answer is no, now is best time to start making changes to make sure that we can do all the fun things that we like doing now.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I touched upon that with another guest of ours a few weeks back, where we kind of talked about when women reach like 40s, 50s, where they think, especially like the middle age stage of life, and just how much, as especially as women, how we get it in our heads that life, that's it, we've had the children, they've grown up, they've left, and what's left for them. And it's almost like I've seen it with women around me, where they've just kind of almost like given up, and it's like, so that really got me to thinking as well, like now is setting the groundwork ready. And that just, it does. It's like I've started thinking of all these things now, because I'm like in my last 2 years of my 30s, and I'm like, yeah, 10 years isn't it sounds like a long time, but it's not a long time either. It's going to come around very quickly. So I think I may have to participate in what you've got coming up.
Oh yeah, please.
Yes. So, Anya has something really exciting to share with you all that she's got coming up. So I'm going to let her tell you what it is.
It's going to be my free challenge, mind and body reset.
Oof.
So 5 days together to dive deep into our habits, what we think and feel about health, about exercise, about nutrition, and being brutally honest with ourselves and deciding, are all those habits supporting the lifestyle we want to live, or is there something that we want to change, improve, add? And also in the way I'm all about having fun in life. So I won't be telling anyone that they have to cut this or they cannot have fruit, because the stuff that I see on social media, like literally, yesterday, somebody, there's a reel when a woman says that even eating half of an apple can make you gain visceral fats, which of course is not true. No one got fat from eating apples, but the amount of weird stuff on social media is like, I think, never been so high. So it's really, my challenge will be about things that fit your lifestyle. And all I share is not something that, like I feel strong about, or there are notes that there are things that are like evidence backed, because I really, after all this craziness that I've seen, I started working with coaches who actually have PhD in nutrition. When they talk about studies, they actually say what studies say, because they can read the studies, because that's the other problem, like with some of those big podcasts, somebody says something and then it's repeated over and over, and then people decide that this is it, and then you check the study and it says something completely different. So I'm not saying I have answers to everything, because whoever says that we can assume that they will be very, very biased,
Yeah.
because health nutrition is very nuanced, so there's no one size fits all. But in my challenge, I will make sure that you will find the ways to improve your health, improve your habits, and yeah, just like find balance and this like this confidence that whatever you do it for like your health, your future self. Because I think the confidence that we were talking about comes from this knowing that we are supporting ourselves, we're doing our best, and our best will look differently in different stages of our lives. But just knowing that we didn't give up on ourselves, and we know that our body, our health is in our hands to, of course, certain degree. That's very, very empowering. And I think this like inner confidence, that's one of the ways to cultivate it.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think I may participate. It sounds amazing. Especially now that I'm starting to build better habits myself. And I'm just so fortunate as well to be connected to just so many incredible women that all bring something different that just, yeah, it makes, I think, especially this last 5 years, especially since 2020, it has made being a female and being a woman, despite all the pressures out there on social media, like being connected to such as yourself and the other guests that we've had on, like being connected to women has just made it easier to explore all of these things rather than just buying into all of the expectations, all of the pressures and filters and AI and looking a certain way. And like, I don't think I've ever felt like physically healthy is a work in progress, but I don't think I've actually felt more healthier in my being than I have these past 5 years. And like honestly, if you are listening and anything that Annie has shared tonight, I really do strongly urge you to sign up to this challenge. It's completely free. And if I know Ania well, it's going to be packed full of value and things that you're going to be able to start implementing straight away. Because I've had conversations with her before, and she does just break it down in a way that you don't have to become like an expert in it all. It's just broken down in a way there's no shame, there's no judgment, and it's just really simple to implement. Like, I love it. You are
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, thank you. But I'm really all about simplicity. And I'm thinking like how like I feel and like how about my body, in my body, and the things I do. I don't do anything crazy. I don't go to the gym. I exercise at home. My nutrition is so simplified. I cook at home. I don't we hardly ever order, but we still do. We go out, but it's just the it's I thought that it one of my like limiting beliefs was just like healthy food is expensive, because that was something like I remember like my mom when she saw avocado in the supermarket and commenting how expensive it was. So in my head I'm like, okay, so healthy food is expensive, and I know it's not. And this is kind of things that we will also be working in my challenge, because yeah, we all kind of know, like I said earlier, what we are supposed to do, but somehow it's hard. Or sometimes after hello after
Yeah.
spending too much time on social media, we might be a bit confused, because there was a time that I didn't know what to believe anymore. And that I'm like, yeah, there's still science, and there are people who spend like sacrifice their life to actually understand science. And those are the people that I want to learn from, because I
Mhm.
believe that women and like everyone deserves science. And I changed my mind about different things couple times when I was presented with evidence, because I don't uh I don't get emotional about facts, because that's the I
Mhm.
think sometimes it's problem with social media. People who talk about nutrition, they bring so much feelings into that they cannot be objective anymore. And
Mhm.
that's the problem, because we all have different stories, yes, but there are also like certain things that can be checked, can be proven. And if we always are against that, probably we are not the best source of information, and we might confuse people even further.
Absolutely. And I think that's really important because there's so much out there. There's so many diets, there's so many suggestions, and there's so much harmful stuff out there. And like I don't even want to get on the subject of the Ozempic and Mounjaro. Like half the people I know are using them right now. Not that I'm saying there's no judgment, but it just that's a whole topic for another day, for sure. But it's insane to me just how many things are pushed, like especially on social platforms, more so on places like TikTok, where there are the video adverts. There's so much out there on cortisol belly, and I'm guessing what their meaning is the visceral fat that you was talking about
Yeah.
earlier, where it's gone to the stomach, and try this pill, try that fat burner, try this diet. And I just think how much further damage is being done,
Yeah. How much
because
money is being
yeah,
wasted?
and just how far someone's willing to go because of an expectation that we're supposed to look a certain way. It's insane to me. But I am sure we'll have many conversations on this. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to drop you a link to the challenge in this description of this episode. So everyone, if you are looking forward to it, it is in below this episode, and I will also drop it in the Fearless Femme newsletter as well, which should be coming out tomorrow. Along with this episode. So if you've been waiting for this one, because I normally drop them on a Monday, I've been very late this week. So I'll be dropping this one tomorrow for you all to listen in. And please do sign up. And even if you do nothing else, just spend the 5 days with Ania. Watch her lives that she does as well, which are epic, and they're not always about food and nutrition. Like, you bring so many good topics to the table. So yeah, everybody, you need to go follow her.
Thank you so much for having me here. It was an absolute pleasure. And yeah, I'm looking forward to my challenge and to hearing this episode and yeah, diving into others because I know you had amazing guests and I listened to some of the other episodes. So thank you for having me and thank you
You're
for doing
welcome.
what you're doing.
You are more than welcome. So until next time, this has been Becky Jane on the Fearless Femme podcast.
Thank you for having me. Bye.